Up, people, this is Count Backwards. This is basically an attempt at a podcast. I know it's going to be not very good and probably not very interesting, but it's an attempt, and hopefully it will encourage others to try and join in as well. I'm going to review a couple of things that are just, that I've been playing recently and looking forward to doing. One of them is Warhawk, which is on PlayStation 3. Another game is Pain, which is a download game also available on PlayStation 3. And also a movie coming up, which is Wall-E, which is the latest Pixar Disney film, and I'm quite looking forward to that. So we're going to start off with Warhawk. Like I say, it's on PS3 and it's purely online only. It's a third-person shooter set in a fictitious world where there's a war raging between two factions called the Acadian and the Shinovan. There's no real explanation given why they're fighting, but they're bitter enemies, so you go with it. It's basically, like I say, it's third person, but there's also tank warfare, jeeps, and mostly aircraft, which is what seems to be hogged a lot of the time, and you tend to get quite basically pawned on the minute you try and take off in the air. There's someone swooping in, blowing you to smithereens, which is very, very annoying. There's also upgrade packages which you can download, which give you extra vehicles like armoured assault carriers and dropships, which aren't exactly very good. They're just basically large missile magnets and get you hurt even more. I say it's based on an old game that used to be on PlayStation called Warhawk, which was basically just an air combat game, and they've expanded it and moved on from there. There was going to be a single player, but they dropped that before it actually was released, saying it wasn't very good. You can, as you play, you unlock medals and rewards, which are for certain achievements, and you can get extra weapons. You become better at weapons, better at dodging missiles. But your lock-on time is reduced with certain upgrades. You also get extra character customization abilities. So you can completely customize your character from their skin color, hair, uniform color, individual symbols you can upload to your PlayStation, so you can have your own special logo on the side of your plane or your tank or your armor, which is quite cool. There's got a lot of interesting designs out there which are quite fun to see. Some very rude and some not so rude. I like it. It's a good game. Like I say, you have to play it forever before you get any good at it, because there's no lock on with the handheld weapons. There's very little accuracy with the guns. It's quite difficult to shoot people, but I like it. It's fun, and like I say, even though it's on a multiplayer, it is good. Right, moving on is Pain. Now this is a game that is right up my street. It's basically you pay. It's only about £5 to download, and it's basically like a destruction game. You have cartoon-looking characters. One of them who is like a teenager. Then there's like a Santa Claus character and a cow character. There's a ninja, a pirate, and a cheerleader, and a British rock star, sort of like an old punk sort of thing. Basically, the idea of the game is to catapult yourself using a rubber band catapult into various items, pedestrians, cars, exploding crates, and do as much damage to the environment as you can to rack up points. There's also lots of challenges where you have to catch hold of poles and swing yourself around, then carry on flying or see how far you can go. It is fun. It's absolute mental. The sound effects are great. There's bone crushing. You land on your nuts and that hurts as well. It is a laugh. There's going to be some upgrades for it as well. There's also an indoor amusement park, so you can catapult yourself into the path of an oncoming roller coaster and derail that, and then that will knock off further explosions and things. It is a laugh. There's the ragdoll physics are really good on it, so you just you see him falling around everywhere, and it's a lot of fun. So if you have a PS3, I suggest you get it, and if you don't have a PS3, I suggest you get one, then get it, because we all know PS3 is much better. Right. The new Pixar film, which I know people think are just for kids, but I've been in love with these ever since Toy Story, and most of the jokes in it aren't actually for children. They're way above their heads. Wall-E is basically about a little robot that is left behind on Earth for 800 years. The Earth becomes dangerously polluted, so the humans have to leave Earth. and they leave these loads of little robots behind to try and tidy up the planet so that one day when they return, everything's back to normal and they can carry on their existence. But obviously after 700 years, they're all going to break down. Apart from the one which we're focusing on, which is basically WALL-E, which stands for Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class. Don't know whether C came into that, but what these. Right, so he's left behind, and but after like several malfunctions, and basically he sits around finding old bits of human civilization. He even sits watching old programs on an iPod, and he becomes in love with the movie Hello Dolly, which is like an old musical from 1969. And from that he develops a personality, and he learns about love and affection and being friends, and he also makes friends with a cockroach, which he keeps running over, but because it's a cockroach, it keeps coming back to life because they're very resilient creatures. So anyway, the humans send another probe back to Earth, which is called Eve. This is basically an iPod-looking, futuristic, super-looking, hovery robot thing that he falls madly in love with. And basically, this robot is just completely ignoring him, doesn't really care for him. So, he becomes even more infatuated, follows it back to its home planet, which is basically an Earth spaceship that he then finds, and then they return to Earth and basically, look after him and take it on from there. I mean, it is a good film. It comes out on the 18th of July, I think, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope it will be wonderful. Right. Well, like I say, that's me, and that's the basic little podcast sort of thing. It's not very good, it's not very great, but I thought at least if I'm doing it, then it'll encourage others to give it a go, and hopefully we can get this going a bit more regularly than we did before. Well, this is Count Backwards, signing off. Bye-bye.